Hello and welcome to another episode of Feminine Scope. I am Amanda Ezekwe. Feminine Scope is a program where we discuss issues bordering around women, their challenges and triumphs, covering different spheres of their lives. Annually, the world observes 16 days of activism against gender-based violence campaign. This is an international campaign that kicks off on 25th November, the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, and runs until 10 December, Human Rights Day. The campaign was started by activists at the inauguration of the Women's Global Leadership Institute in 1991. A recent report from the United Nations, based on the data from 13 countries since the pandemic, shows that 2 in 3 women reported that they are or a woman they know experienced some form of violence, and only 1 in 10 women go to the police for help. While gender-based violence is not inevitable, it should and must be prevented. To raise awareness, the theme for this year is Unite, Activism to End Violence Against Women and Girls. And to raise awareness, I have a guest in the studio to discuss this. She's a gender-based violence advocate, an author and the founder, Good News Philippian Mission. You'll get to meet my guest after the break. Welcome back. Gender-based violence against women and girls is one of the most persistent and devastating human rights violations in our world today and remains largely unreported due to the silence, stigma, and shame surrounding it. To discuss this with me is Lois Tofunmi Aderomose, a gender-based certified violence advocate, an author and the founder, the Good News Club Philippian Mission. You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here. I'm always excited to come on your show, Amanda.
Again.
And during the 16 days of activism, again. So, yeah, I'm happy.
Nice to have you here.
Thank you so much.
So we're talking about the ending gender violence.
Yeah.
What exactly is gender-based
Okay.
sexual violence?
Okay, SGBV is any sexual act that targets a person due to the person's gender. That is sexual and gender-based violence. So we have different types of sexual and gender-based violence. We have physical violence, we have emotional violence, we have verbal, we have stalking, we have domestic abuse.
Stalking?
Stalking. Yes, stalking is part of it.
Okay, you actually explain all this.
Yes,
when
I
you're
will.
done.
So then we have harmful traditional practices like female genital mutilation, which I'm big on, because I'm a member of the global media campaign to end FGM in Nigeria. We have breast ironing. We have force feeding. A lot of people don't know about force feeding. They don't usually talk about force feeding, but it's also part of it. Then we have a lot of them. We have a whole lot of. We have child brides. I must not forget that. That's child marriages. So yes, we have a lot of them.
The global theme for this year is Unite.
Yeah.
And
Unite. Activism to end violence against women and girls.
So
yes.
what's the plan? Because we're on it right now.
Yeah. When I saw the team, I was very excited. And the reason is because it has been on my mind. And when I saw the UN team, I was like, oh, these people are speaking my mind this year. This thing that we NGOs have where we say, this is my NGO, this is my team. Okay, let's say I'm working on female genital mutilation and you are also working on female genital mutilation. Instead of us to embrace ourselves and work together so that we can, put an end to female genital mutilation, you're not like, why are you doing the same thing with what I'm doing? And that can actually cause a problem because it happens a lot. When NGOs, CSOs cannot work together, then that is a problem. I always cite this example. Let's say, Amanda, we're going to somewhere and we're inside a car and we have a driver in the front seat and the car broke down and we're supposed to push the car because it's manual. And then the driver just came down and the driver is pushing the car, keeps pushing the car. And everybody sits in the car. What will happen? At the end of the day, the car may not end up, getting started. Mm-hmm. But then if every member of the car comes down from the car and they're like, okay, let's do this together. And then we push. Together. That at the end of the day, we'll be able to push that car and
progress.
Quickly, we would, move to where we're going to get our destination and all of that. So you know, the fact that we're saying unite doesn't just talk about the fact that husbands and wives to unite, because, you know, SGBV focuses on intimate partner violence. It's not just about husband and wife unite, boy and girl, you know, unite. No, it's the people that are pushing for these things. We need to unite as well. CSOs, organizations. A lot of people will be like, no, I don't want to partner with this organization. No, I don't want to partner with organizations. I want to do my own thing. I want to do, auntie, partner with other people so that you can learn. You know, a lot of people don't want to drop their pride. This thing has happened to me. I worked with someone that, you know, I had my own thing, but then I liked the way she worked and I wanted to learn from her, you know, and the way she tossed me aside, the way she acted, I was like, are we not trying to push for the same cause? You are in another state and I'm in this state. Can we not work together too? You know, and because you're older than me, we need to work together. I need to share from your knowledge, you know. And she was like, no. You know, she didn't, you know, use words to say, but you know now, attitude. They start giving you one kind of attitude, turning you into a slave girl. Oh yeah, come and carry my bag. Come and do this. Come and do, just because you want to just help, because of the fact that you have passion. Like I always say, you know, this thing is not a work thing for me. You know, if it were jobs, you know, I even got a good, you know, one job this year and I was so excited about it, but I couldn't take it because I know that if I take it, it would affect what I'm doing. So I had to shove that aside, you know. So I don't know why a lot of people, so when the team came and I'm like, let's shake these tables, man. Let's talk about these things, you know. Let people know about these things. It's not about the people out there to unite. It's about we that were CSOs, we that were trying to push for these things. We need to talk to people about these things. And the people that are ahead of us, don't treat us as if we're young youths. You know, you're supposed to train us, you know, transgenerational thing. You're supposed to train us so that we can take after you have gone. But then for some people, they're like, no. This is my NGO. This is my, some of them will even try to block you when you want to get grants because they don't want you to, you know, be part of the, I'm talking from personal experience. You know?
So particularly,
yeah.
the theme for this year is mainly for the NGOs.
It's not mainly for the NGOs. Lois has made it for the NGOs. You know, I really need people to understand these things. It's not mainly for the NGOs. It's activism to end violence against women and girls. So, you know, all of us are supposed to work together. I was with some people and she was telling me about the fact that they want to do something and they want to call all the NGOs and CSOs together. What are we going to be doing? We're going to be doing maybe art. All of us will just sit down, let's walk, do art, and everybody will leave. And I was asking, why did that come to your mind? She was like, we have been talking for a long time. Let's stop talking. Let's start working together. Let there be love between us, you know, and all of that. And I was like, this is sense.
So the theme is actually paying off for you people.
Yes, it's paying off. I know a lot of people will not reason it this way. A lot of people, maybe their minds will be, you know, let people out there come together. Let's, you know, a lot of people just have their view about it. But this is my own view about it. If we as NGOs, CSOs, organizations, you know, top organizations can work together and that's the reason why I like the Ministry of Women Affairs. I've worked with them, you know, for some time. And even during the 16 days of activism, last year I was fully, you know, working, you know, with Ms. Bullis and all of the rest. She's doing so much, you know, and I was happy doing that. And they will embrace you. That's why I like working with them. But for some organizations, they don't even want to partner. When you say, let's do, they'll be like, I don't know their mindsets. Maybe some other people have come and they did some wrong things to them. So that's the reason why they're acting like that. I don't know. But then it's very important that we share. It's very important that we show love. It's very important that, you know, we have all of this in mind. If we have, I would say this, and, you know, it's an adage that our parents used to say in those days, that when you have a bunch of broom, it's difficult to break. But when you have, you know, one stick, 2 sticks of broom, you can just hold it and just, you know, it'll be easy. But when we as NGOs, CSOs, all of us, you know, even with media, you know, we work together, and you see that would achieve so much more.
We always talk about sexual and gender-based violence, and once it is mentioned, rape comes to mind. What is what is sexual and gender-based violence in terms of sexual assault?
Okay, that's why I don't like to call it gender-based violence. A lot of people will call it gender-based violence, but I love to call it, you know, sexual and gender-based violence, so that, you know, that sexual can be there, so that people can understand what it is. And like,
you know, we're so used to calling it gender-based violence.
Yes, and then a lot of people just use rape as anything rape. If, you know, somebody will assault you and say, this girl, look at, you know, calling your body part, and a lot of people don't see it as part of it. But then the sexual harassment, you talking to me anyhow, you know, is part of it. You trying to blackmail me or emotionally, you know, do some, you know, talk to me in a certain way that I'm not comfortable. It's harassment. A lot of people don't know this. I was talking to my mom yesterday, and I was telling her, I was giving her one example. And she was like, that one too is part of it. And I'm like, yes, a lot of people don't know their rights. That's the reason why a lot of people can just talk to them anyhow or do some things to them, and they'll just go, you know, unpunished and all of that. When you actually want to punish them from your heart, but I'm not saying we should punish you. I'm saying we should love, you know. So, yeah, sexual and gender-based violence is, you know, sexual assault is a type of sexual and gender-based violence. So sexual assault is any sexual act that you don't give permission to. We have anus penetration, some of all those things, oral sex. You know, a lot of people do not, you know, subscribe to it. So you now forcing that person to do all of that, that is very wrong. You know, that is sexual assault. And then some people now go to the extent of forcing the person to do that. And there's this case of husband and wife. Say, husband and wife, can they rape each other? You know, there's always that, you know, yes, a husband can rape a wife and a wife can rape husband. The reason why, you know, with no bias to the men. And the reason why we talk about activism against women and girls, because I was somewhere and some people were like, people don't even talk about men at all. Why is that people are focused on the women? I would say that the prevalence, you know, when it comes to abuse to the women and girls is actually more than for
higher.
Higher than for the boys and the men. And I think that's the reason why, you know, we usually focus on this. So I always try to talk about that. So men, you know, don't worry, me and Amanda will talk about you.
What's the contributing factor that leads to sexual and gender-based violence?
Okay, there are a lot of factors, you know, that leads to sexual and gender-based violence. And when it comes to intimate partner violence, sometimes when you do not talk about this before marriage, you know, because some people, to satisfy their sexual desires, you have to do some certain things. So if you didn't talk about it before marriage and then all of those things come into being, then you start seeing that, there's this fight, or there's this, there's that, there's violence, because you have not been able to actually, you know, talk about that. And then I was somewhere yesterday and they talked about drugs. Yes. So when your mind is clouded, when drugs, alcohol has clouded your judgment, you may want to do some things that the other person do not subscribe to, you know. So it's actually a factor. Yeah. We've
talked about all these things. Now let's go a bit into FGM, because I know that's where you advocate, you know, your strength comes out. And we know this is part of sexual and gender-based violence.
Yes, harmful traditional practice.
Knowing that it is ravaging young girls who are not able to speak out. How is this being handled? How come?
Okay, so let me start by defining female genital mutilation. Female genital mutilation is the total or partial cut of a female's external genitalia. So that is it. Now, looking at the research, I just looked at one of the research, I think UNFPA in support with Women Affairs. I saw that Nigeria is the third highest country with, you know, with the prevalence of female genital mutilation, with a total of 19.9 million women living with the consequences of female genital mutilation. The first is Egypt with 36 thereabouts, or I can't remember. Then the second is Ethiopia with 23.8. So Nigeria is actually, you know, yeah. And then over 200 million women in over 29 countries are living with the consequences of female genital mutilation. 10% of that 200 million are Nigerians. So looking at that percentage, we can see that 20 million, or 19.9, like they like to say, million women are living with the consequences of female genital mutilation. So it is a serious, very serious issue, and we really need to address it. We really need to put it in the focal point, and we really need, you know, people to come and talk about this, to come and, you know, that's why I don't, I met someone and she was like, why are you talking to children about female genital mutilation? I'm saying, and I told her that we're at the age where children can talk about it and they can fight for themselves. Children can be brave. children can talk to their parents about it. My book, Tolani Nirara, you know, it's about the fact that a girl rose up and said, you know what, mom? She educated her mom. She said, I think it was Funmi. Funmi went through female genital mutilation. She was not able to resume school because she went through female genital mutilation. You know, this person did this and she died. You know, I'm your only child. Would you want me to die as well? And the mom just thought about it. Hey, these NGO people, they were talking about these things. So, and we've seen cases of people dying. So this thing can actually cause it, and that was how she did not do it. They faced stigmatization. If you read that book, it's, you know, there were pieces of stories picked from people. It was not like, you know, Tolani was the one that it happened to, but then it was picked from different scenarios, real life scenarios. And then the mother was like, okay, Tolani had a birthday, nobody came. Wow. And because she was not caught, and people now associated it to witches and wizards. She's an Ogbanje, she's this and she's that. You know, they go to church and people are like, ah, no, just like what you were reading when we started. No, don't sit close to us, so because, you know, it was a very big issue. And I think a lot of people in different states in Nigeria are still going through this. The highest prevalence states in Nigeria are Ebonyi State, Ekiti State, Imo, Oyo, and Osun State. We have high prevalence cases in those states. And I think we need to, you know, really talk about these things. We need to, and I'm so happy that, you know, the president of, you know, in Nigeria, the, you know, coordinator in Nigeria, Ayo Bello, you know, she's on this matter and she's in Osun State and she's doing so well. I even noticed that the prevalence has also reduced. So I really, you know, want us to really talk about these things and really, you know, educate girls. I give them my book for free, and I'm like, okay, go and read it. It may not just be only on FGM, but on sexual violence. You've been able to speak for yourself and say, no, I'm not going to allow this. This would not happen to me. You know, some girls, it's because some girls, the thing just happened to them, and it's their father's friend, and it's my daddy's friend, and he said, let me lie down. So I just laid down, and it happened.
But when you come to FGM,
yeah,
does culture and religion affect it?
Yeah. It's one of our strongest reasons for female genital mutilation. Culture and religion, but I think more of culture, you know, because female genital mutilation is passed down from generation to generation. We have different reasons for female genital mutilation. We have psychosocial reasons, which is like to cope promiscuity, you know, and to usher her into womanhood. You know, so that's the psychosocial reason. Then we have cultural reasons that says sociocultural reasons that say if you don't cut her clitoris, you know, it will grow and become like the male's penile shaft, you know. Then there are other ones that they're just different reasons, you know. For the religious reasons, I had a theologist and we were talking about this. In fact, my dad, you know, and we're talking about it, and he said, no, there's no reason, you know, in the Bible about this. You know, Moses talked about circumcision in the Bible, but he did not, you know, talk about it, you know, for the girls. And when he was talking about it, he was talking about it to initiate. It's just like baptism, you know, you coming out of, you know, darkness into light, just initiating you into the body of Christ. You know, not necessarily cutting off the foreskin and all of that. So a lot of doctrines, you know, not just for the Christians, even for the Muslims, you know, because they also practice it. So there are a lot of reasons for female genital mutilation, and religious reasons is one of it. And we really need to talk about it because, sorry, I'm cutting you. There's this woman I met and we were talking about it, and she told me my dad was a pastor, and that is the reason why, you know, he did this to me, you know, because he believed that when the Bible says the man, the male figure, he's talking about both the male and the female. You know, so they're just doctrines that people just, you know, generate and bring out of the Bible, but they don't necessarily mean, that's not what it means. And, you know, female genital mutilation has no health benefits. I would say this over and over again. Female genital mutilation has no health benefit. But for the males, you can check online, the Association of Pediatricians, they talk about the fact that for the male, it reduces penile cancer. You know, it reduces, because the foreskin, once it covers, there are some things that hides under it, you know, so it reduces dirt and all of that, hygiene and all of that. So it helps the male figure, but it doesn't, there's no health benefit when it comes to the female figure. Yeah.
How have you been able to go into into the interiors to create awareness for these people, knowing that they have been living with these things over the years, generation to generation?
It's actually a big issue, It's a very strong one, and it has not been easy. Now, we have two communities. I'm just going to cite this as an example. We have two communities. This community do not know that female genital mutilation is existing. This community, no, they know that female genital mutilation is existing, but then they don't know that it is wrong. Then this community know that female genital mutilation is existing and they are doing it, and they know that it is wrong, but they are not, they want to continue doing it because it's a cultural thing. So now you are faced between two communities. This one know that it is wrong. This one doesn't know that it is wrong, So you have to, develop some certain skills, ability to listen, ability to communicate, interacting with members of the community and say like, okay, hello, how do you know, have you heard about, no, don't call it female genital mutilation because they probably would not know. You now say, have you heard of female circumcision? They'll say, now, that thing that we used to do. Now say, okay, how is it done? Just interact with them, trying to understand what they are, and they're like, this is how we used to do it. And okay, do you know that this thing does not have health benefits? Do you know that this is how it works and everything? For some, they will believe you and they will understand because they've gone through it and they don't want their children to go through it. For those communities that do not even know that it is wrong. Now, for communities that they know that it is wrong, they will even ask you that if you tell me to stop circumcising the girl, then you start paying me because that is the work that my grandmother, the one that is before her mother, sent to me. So I have to, do this to my children. And that is where I get money to train my children to school. That is also part of the reasons, economical reasons, So you cannot tell me not to circumcise a girl child. And because that is where they raise funds for themselves to take care of their families. So they want you to now start funding them. They want you to start saying, okay, if you don't want me to do this, then you now pay me. Now, for some NGOs, I don't know if they used to pay them, but me, I cannot pay anybody. Because if you pay once, you continue to pay. Because you have to continue.
They'll hold you to ransom.
Yes, they'll hold you to ransom. They'll say she's going to pay us so that we're going to stop. And trust me, they will not stop. They'll still be doing it underneath. So you trying to pay them, would not make so much sense. So we're faced between two communities. So you cannot use the mind of the fact that this thing is bad, and some communities know about it, to face communities that don't know that it is bad. So you have to be technical as an advocate. You have to understand what is going on in that particular community. That's why when you enter a community to speak, you don't just go to a community and say, hey, this is it. No. You go around the community, interact with people. What's happening in your community? This and that. I heard about this thing. Just interact with them, and then you will now know their view about female genital. Then you will now be able to now, okay, and that's why I like the 16 days of activism. February 6th is International Day for Zero Tolerance to Female Genital Mutilation. So it's a time where we create awareness. We make people understand that this thing you're doing, don't do it. It is wrong. Oh, this is what he used to cause. So this and that is what he used to cause. So if you do it like this is what will happen to your children. So we create this time to talk about it.
Sexual and gender-based violence.
Yeah.
Now you start from, like the grassroots, the children. You go into schools.
Yeah.
What's the worst scenario you've seen with the girl child?
I've seen a lot, though. I've seen a lot.
Can you give us instances?
I've seen rape cases, a lot. I've seen the ones that are trying to run and they use knife to cut them. I even went with my friend that day, and she couldn't even stay there. She was just staring. She was trying to run, and the guy just tore her hand, tore it, and she came to school with it. And, I just went there to talk to the kids about sexual and gender-based violence, and after talking, some students now say, Auntie, come, I want to tell you something. So I don't know, maybe they don't want their teachers to hear, or maybe there's this stereotyping that goes on within them. So she now called me and said, Auntie, come, I want to tell you something. I said, what happened? They took us to one class, very far away from where we did the program, and they were like, see what happened to this girl, this and this is happening to her. And, the uncle is not always around. So there's this, I think it's her neighbor, that will come and will try to force her, so she will run out of the house. So, a lot of things like that. And the fact that she doesn't have clothes, that her mom is dead, it's just very difficult. We see a lot of cases in the field. Rape, different cases, physical violence, we see them almost every day. We see them almost
this
every day.
This increased during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And the cases of, especially domestic violence.
Yeah.
Do you handle that too?
So I'm certified for sexual and gender-based violence and peer mental health, but I try to focus on children, though my certificate covers that, but I try to to focus on children most times. But then we see some cases and we try to attend to them. But most times when they come to me, I just give the proper channel. I can send to FEED, I can send to Ministry of Women Affairs, since they have a toll number, that you can just call. So I just forward to them. But then when it has to do with kids and teenagers, cases like that, I just try to talk to them, try to find solutions to the cases, because like I would always say, most times when there's a case of domestic violence, it's not every case that must end in jail. It's not every case that must end in jail. There's some cases that can be settled, and they can go for therapy and they can heal, and their marriages will still work. I know a lot of people don't like to hear this, but it's the truth. So it's not every case that ends with jail. There's some cases that just speaking to them, going for therapy, those cases can work. And we saw a strong spike during the COVID-19, because a lot of people had to stay at home, and all of that. But
then their faces, each other's faces all the time.
Yeah. And they didn't have time to do all of that, because in Nigeria you have to hustle. Everybody is going for work, and in the night we just jam. Stay or you just sleep. The next morning, you're out. And that time they had to spend time with each other. And I feel it's just because a lot of people did not even get to know their spouse well. I'm not a marriage counselor or anything, but I think it's very important that we get to know each other, we get to relate with each other. And these cases, domestic violence is not just for husbands and wife, but intimate partner violence is for husbands and wife. Now, domestic violence includes elderly people, children, any violence within the home, domestic violence covers it. So a lot of people, when you say domestic violence, you just say, hey, it's the husband and wife, but no. But it covers elderly people, because elderly people are also abused, because they are old, they cannot do things for themselves. Most times you don't get to see that they beat them, not like they flog them or anything, but then you hear words, why are you, things that would make them
verbally abusive.
Yes, and things that would make them uncomfortable and all of that. So we also have that, and we try to talk to people about it, so that let's minimize, let's not do that to people. And it's very important, especially persons with disability. This often happens. I was at the conference this year, and somebody cited an example that I want to manage you. Wow. You that you are crippled and I want to manage you. I just want to manage to marry you. That's also part of it. Verbal abuse, emotional abuse. I just want to manage. Some people will even blackmail you. They will manipulate you, gaslighting. They will make you feel like they are more important than you are.
Emotional blackmail.
They make you feel like they are more important than you are.
They are doing you a favor.
Thank you. That's the word. I'm not just doing you a favor to even say I want to get married to you. You that you are this, you are that. And it's serious. And as Nigerians, we really need to stop this. We really need to stop it. We need to focus on the women. We need to focus on the girls. We need to focus on the men. We need to focus on the boy. Everybody that is close to you is important to you. And like I always say, you don't need to be a big advocate. You don't need to be one NGO, owner of an NGO. Everybody has a responsibility to help the next person. Okay, somebody needs your help, whether the person is having one disability or the other, or the person just needs your help. It's very important to just help the person. You have a wife at home and you are beating her up. She has children. You are making her children watch, because we have cases like that. Say, watch this thing that I'm doing to your mother. I will do it to you 10 times. Those cases are they are difficult to handle, because you are affecting that child's mentality about it. Because when that child grows up, the child now wants to do what my daddy is doing. My daddy does this to mommy, so I can do it. So these things are passed down from generation to generation. So parents need to watch out for this.
We'll be going on a short break, and when we come back, we'll delve into knowing a victim of sexual and gender-based violence. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
We are a nation blessed with people of diverse cultures, religions, languages, and opinions. It is ironic that we are now being ripped apart by our greatest strength, our diversity. We have allowed intolerance, insensitivity, bigotry, and nepotism to blind our vision of the greatness we can achieve working together as one. We may not have the same culture, nor religion, nor language, but we all belong to the same nation by the divine will of God. We did not choose to be Nigerians. Nigeria chose us. This nation is our divine heritage, and if we open our eyes, we would realize that what divides us pales in comparison to what unites us. And by the comparison and conciliation of our differences, we will grow until our differences disappear. Our unity cannot be willed by mere declarations, nor do we get unity by ignoring the questions that beg for answers. We must celebrate our diversity and debate our differences without fracturing our unity. Our strength is not in our numbers, but in our unity, because even the weak become strong when united. Nigeria unite.
This message is brought to you by Abuja Broadcasting Corporation, owners and operators of ASO Radio 93.5 FM Abuja, ASO Television DSTV Channel 392, Star Times Terrestrial Channel 127, Free TV Channel 507, People's TV Channel 285, and UHF Channel 38.
If you're just joining us, this is Feminine Scope. In commemoration of the annual 16 days of activism, we have been discussing gender-based violence against women. We still have our guest in the studio, a gender-based violence advocate, Lois Tofunmi Aderomose. How can we identify a victim? Because it's a sad occurrence that because of the economic situation in the country, parents are never home to look after these kids. And most of them go through this. How can parents detect when they see a bit of this in their children?
Okay, I'm glad you even asked about the children, because that's my line. Okay, so I think one of the things that people say about me is that I'm observant, that I'm too observant. I can notice what you're wearing, and I can remember, and I'll tell you, this was what you wear. This was what you wore, rather, you know. So it's something that I have been doing for a long time. And most times, children do not just, say how they feel, but they will act it around you. They'll act it so that you can see. But when you don't notice, you don't observe, then that's when there's a problem. And as parents, we need to really observe. I know that we have a lot of work to do. We have to go to the office. We come back late, and you know it's because of these children. That's why you are doing this. We need to pay school fees and all of that. But then, if you have a child that you have not properly, taken care of, you have not properly taught, you have not properly educated about some of these things, and then you just feel like the child will know by themselves, then that's when there's a problem. Because you have to fully educate your children. Mm-hmm. You know, you have to tell them that this thing is wrong. You know, this and this. Don't let somebody do these things to you. And sit with them. Talk with them. Have an interaction with them. Have an interactive segment at home. How was school today? Ask questions. If you don't ask them questions, some of them will not even want to say anything. When, stay in their room when they are playing. Stay in the playroom with them. They'll be talking to each other. See what this person said in the school. This person said this. This person said that. Check their school bags. Check what is, check their lunch pack. Check, did you eat your food? The food is finished, definitely. Did you eat your food? Did you take your snacks? To be sure that nobody is bullying them, because it's also part of violence. How did this go? Did you do your assignment? Talk to them, have an interaction with them. And from there, you get to know that, okay, this child, you touch their bodies. Touch their bodies. When you want to take, help them to, check their bodies. And You see marks. What happened to you here? You know, did you report? Did you tell your teacher about it? Ask questions. Have an interaction with them. From there, you get to pick up. Okay, this is what is happening. This is what is happening. Then you know what to do.
Because most times, these children don't open up to people. Why?
Yeah, they don't open up. Most times they don't open up to anybody. They only open up to people that they trust. I have some kids with me. I have a club for kids, and there are some things that their parents do not know about them.
Wow.
But I know about them. You know, there was a case of a girl that, you know, she had sexual intercourse with someone and she was pregnant. You know, and that was not rape. But then she confided in me and she was like, I cannot tell my parents. I want to help me. You know, and I'm like, there's no way around this. We have to talk to your parents about it. But then I would help you, you know, I will assist you to talk to your parents about this. You know, so there are ways, you know, that you can actually bring them closer to yourself. You know, don't judge them. I think that's number one thing that we should know. And I think that's what,
to ask that question.
That's what parents, you know, needs to know as well. Don't judge them. You know, when they come to you, they want to, you have gone through it as a parent. You know, in those days, our mothers, you cannot tell them that you have a boyfriend. They will kill you. You like this, you have a boyfriend, you know, they would talk, the things they will say, you will never want to tell them about anything going on in your life anymore. But then it is very important that we relate with our children in such a way that they can talk to us. We're friends with them. What's happening? You know, ask them, do you have a boyfriend? They will laugh. Oh, do you have a boyfriend? They will laugh. Hey. When they laugh, you say, me, I just say I should ask. So because during my days, there was this guy that was talking to me, and I don't know, the guy was just talking to me like that before I met your father. The guy was just talking to me like that. Then they will not say, there's this boy too that's talking to me. Oh. And from there, you start relating with them. Oh, okay. So, you know, and then you now know what is inside their mind. But when you don't get to relate with them, you cannot know if they're having a boyfriend. And you cannot help them avoid the sexual intercourse that end up, you know, becoming pregnancy and all of that. You say, she has brought shame to the family. You know, she has done this, she has done that. You know, so it is important that you actually, you know, there are some children that there's no how you will talk to them, but they will not still listen. You know, you talk to them, you keep talking, you even flog them, you do this, you do that, but then they will not still listen. For those children, you need to, you know, take them to, you know, therapists, you know, let them meet with someone that they can actually talk to, you know, and then they can, you know, there's some children that will talk to their daddies more than their mommies, you know.
Depending on the relationship.
Depending on the relationship. So you tell them, speak to your daughter, this is what she's doing, this is what I noticed that she's, because you know that she is close to her daddy. You know, so then you can have, and that's the reason why it is good that, you know, parenting is not just for one person, it's for the two parties. You know, when we can have a conversation and say, okay, talk to this person, talk to that. We're not fighting over our children, you know, but we just gotten to understand that, you know, this child loves their daddy and can comfortably talk to their dad more than their mother. So when you find that balance, you can be able to relate with your child. You can now say, okay, this and this is what you should do. You don't do this, you don't do that. You know, so yeah.
What's the role of stigmatization in sexual, gender-based violence?
Stigmatization plays a huge role, you know, especially when, that's why I've been to some places to sensitize people. I've been to some media houses. I've been to some places like that, you know, to sensitize people, communities, you know, to sensitize people, especially the police, you know, road safety and all of that. You know, it is important that you know the kind of questions to ask. Yes, I've also been to media, you know, to talk to people. It's important that you know the kind of questions you ask people so that they don't feel like you're
stigmatizing them.
Yes, stigmatizing them, or you are trying to, you know, say that they are at fault. You know, and that's the reason why we don't have...
Most people don't open up.
Most people don't open up, and we don't have most of these cases documented. Now, most of the cases that you see that is out there, and they say, this person is this person, you know, it's those people that are bold enough to say, whatever wants to happen, let it happen. I must report. You know, for those people that are brave. Why some people, we have a lot of cases that are not reported because of stigmatization. So I would say it, and I would keep saying it, that if there's something going on, if you keep it to yourself, then you probably cause more harm to yourself. You'll be suffering depression, you'll be going through a lot, because, you know, these cases can become bitterness, and from there you start saying, you know, I cannot continue anymore, and suicidal thoughts will be coming to your mind. So it is very, very important that, you know, you talk to someone about it, talk to someone that you can confide in, talk to someone that you trust, you know. I can meet you and I'll say, okay, this is what I'm going through, and media, the police officers, judiciaries, there are questions you can ask. The question you can ask, okay, where were you? What happened? Okay, you can speak to me. We've seen these cases happen over and over again, and we've helped them, and we would not, would not want to make people know that you are the one. We'll treat the case anonymously, would find a way to, just make them feel comfortable. From there, they are able to relate the matter to you. And that's why when we go for community outreaches, you see that I'm able to relate with some of the people there. It's not like we've known each other, but, when we just meet and we're like, how is this, how is that? From there, I've seen cases like this, I've seen cases like this. And then you just see somebody saying, Auntie Abeg, come, I want to tell you something. This one happened for our community. This so girl, I don't know as wanted do and then I'll be like, okay, who is the person? I better not tell them, say, let me tell you, but now so, and from there we would go, find out what to do, and then you see that after some time that person has healed up. Rape is not the end of a person's life. It's just a case that happened in your life, okay?
That brings me to rape.
Yeah.
What is the first thing a rape victim should do?
Okay, the first thing a rape victim to do, because of the country that we find ourselves, is to take your evidence, take pictures, make sure your evidence are intact. That's like one of the first things that I would say you should do, especially when you want to report those cases, because if there are no evidence to show that this rape case actually happened, then you start seeing a rigmarole on the issue. And that's why you see a lot of cases are not settled today, because there are no, immediately the rape happened, they say, oh yeah, go and take your bath, go and cover, go and do this, go and do that,
But some of them might be so traumatized that they are not even thinking straight.
That's the reason why, I think that's the reason why we're creating awareness now. Let people know that you get your evidence, okay? Get your evidence as quick as possible, and then you go and, make them understand that, okay, this and this is what happened. Take videos, if the person has been sending you text messages, emails, whatever it is, keep them. So that when the judiciaries come and they ask you questions, you're able to present something before them. Because sometimes I would not really blame the judiciaries about these cases, because most times when there are no evidence, it looks as if their hands are tied. And the other person would not say that, okay, I'm the one that raped her.
No.
So you see, so those cases you have to show something for for let there be an evidence that, okay, this is what happened, and this is how we should address it. Yeah.
So how can we protect a sexually abused person?
The first thing is to take the person to the hospital in case if there's any injury, in case if she has hit herself somewhere. The first thing is to do is to take her to the hospital. Let her see the doctor. Let her speak to the doctor. Then the next thing to do is to take her to a safe house. Okay? Take her to a safe house. Lift her up from that environment. Take her to a safe house. And people will begin to wonder, are there safe houses in Abuja? Are there safe houses in Nigeria? Yes.
Many people don't understand what a safe house is, so I think you should.
Okay, it's a place that it's like a transit home. That's what they call it in Ekiti State. I'm from Ekiti State, so we have one in our state. And shout out to the First Lady, Erelu Bisi Fayemi, Her Excellency. So we have one in Ekiti State, and it contains thousands. And we also have one in Abuja here. I would not mention the name because I would not mention the area because it's a safe house. It's a place just to shelter people that have gone through violence, and just because in case if the perpetrator is still coming after you, just to keep you safe. Okay, so there are safe houses in Abuja, and you can go to the Ministry of Women Affairs. You can go to NAPTIB rather. They would help you. So you go to them, they would pick you from those places, and they'll keep you somewhere, and they know how to handle these cases. Trust me, they're professionals. They know how to handle these cases. They're professionals among them. They have people that can counsel you and all of that. In fact, I embarked on a project this year at Kuchingoro. Not Kuchingoro, Kadokuchi, the one close to Jahi, and we had some people I volunteered with seed builders, we had counselors that came in. We had some girls that have gone through these cases that they did not speak up about it, and we called them, we counseled them, we helped them, to get out of that safe place, because the safe space rather, the safe place is your head, and the safe space is the environment where you find yourself. So the first thing to do is to get you out of that safe place, which is in your mind. So we get you out of that safe place, then we get you out of the safe space, out of that space where you are, get you out and put you into a safe space where you can be okay, you can feel relaxed and everything. Then, we can allow they can allow your family to come see you once in a while, but then it is very district. They don't allow a lot of people to go there because there are other people that, they're keeping their identity safe.
Okay. Now, we've talked about how we can protect a victim. Yeah. How can the victim protect herself?
Okay, it is very important that a victim should protect yourself. I don't like talking about the fact that people should go and learn how to do character and everything. But then it is important.
Self-defense.
Self-defense. It's important. It's important that you know how to defend yourself. Okay, for kids, definitely Miss Lois will not talk about self-defense. But for all of these, because for teenagers, because for kids, I will first tell you, work on your confidence, your self-confidence, work on your self-esteem. I will always tell you, because if somebody comes to you and the person is like, hey, the person is trying to bully you, what Miss Lois will always say, stand, walk with your head high and look at the person. Let the person look at you very well and be like, are you sure you want to bully someone like me? And then when you say, are you sure you want to bully someone like me? And then the person is like, oh, okay, no, I would not try this person, because those perpetrators, they can actually see it in you that you're weak, they can actually see it in you that, no, this person don't have power. But then when you stand tall with your self-esteem and you look at the person and you stand, the person that, no, let's not mess with this one. So I think the first thing for children is to work on their confidence. And I would say this over and over again to parents: help your children work their self-esteem. They can't do it alone. You telling them you are good for nothing would not help them. You telling them that you are useless, you cannot do anything with your life, would not help them. You are breaking down their self-esteem. So you help them work on their self-esteem. And from there, you see that they are great, they are flying. But for women and for ladies, it is important that, you are able to know how to defend yourself. I see they sell pepper sprays in different corners today. I see so it is very important that you protect yourself, keep yourself safe, okay? And if you don't need to be outside in the night, please don't be outside, okay? Don't stay in dark places where when you scream, people cannot hear you, you cannot defend yourself and all of that. Don't stay in dark places, okay? Move in places where, don't open self-lock doors. You locked door when you were going. You want to enter, you want to enter by yourself and you want to test your strength. Please don't do that. Call people that can help you, okay? You locked the door when you were going. The keys are with you, okay? So you have to be careful about it. And we see a lot of cases today, kidnapping. Who knows whether God just saved you that you were not around. So it's very important that you check and you double check so that you're not caught up in those violent cases.
How proactive has our law enforcement agents been?
Would I be able to talk on their behalf now? But I would say that...
You've been in the field. You've seen most cases. How has it been handled?
I would say that we need to do better. And I would say that it starts with us as an individual. How many of us, like Mommy Ene would say, Mommy Ene Ede would say, how many of us have the VAP Act? How many of us know what is in the VAP Act? VAP, V-A-P-P, Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. How many of us have read through it? It's in different, we have it in English, we have it in Yoruba, we have it in Hausa, we have it in broken. Okay? So we have it in different, if you say, okay, maybe I cannot understand it, we have it in different, It's even on the internet. Just type on the internet, VAP Act, It comes out, the PDF file comes out, and you can read through. Female genital mutilation is part 4, Anybody that goes through with female genital mutilation, cutting someone, the first thing is, in VAP Act, 200,000 naira. No, I think, yes, 200,000 naira, and you go to prison for 4 years is in the VAP Act, part 4 of the VAP, part 6 rather of the VAP Act. And then attempt is 100,000 naira, 2 years imprisonment. Aiding and abetting, 100,000 naira, 2 years imprisonment.
But people are yet to know all this.
Yes, people are yet to know. And then everybody is shouting, the Child Rights Act has been signed in my state. Please go and check. Is it gazetted? Very important, so that it can be used. It's one thing for it to be signed. It's one thing for it to start, for people to start implementing, these laws. So the laws are there. So don't just say, it's signed and everything. I was also talking to NGOs, because I was at the Ward C conference and it just opened my mind. Shout out to Mrs. Abiola. You know, she just opened our mind about, you know, the VAP Act and the things that people don't know about it. So you have the VAP Act. Please work on it. You know what is know what is in the VAP Act, so that people don't just come and treat you anyhow and they just go like that. You know, like I would say, it must not end in jail cases, but let them know that what they have done is wrong, so that they don't do it to other people. And that's the reason why I always say, if something has happened to you as a girl, speak up. You're not speaking up for just yourself. The way you speak up, you heal. But then you're not speaking up for just yourself. You're speaking up for other people, so that they can hear your story and be careful, and so that it doesn't happen to them as well. So the VAP Act is there, the Child Rights Act is there. So if it is signed in your state, very kudos to you. I clap for you. But then you also, you know, need to check if it's gazetted, you know, if implementation has started taking place and all of that, so that if any case comes up, you are able to know the right channel to go to and who can help you.
You've been working in the communities for as long as I can remember. What is the role of the family protecting that child, especially the girl child? Because some of them feel, oh, this is an outcast when things like this happen, forgetting that they did not protect this child. These children are harmless. They don't even know what they've been through, and they've been silenced. What is the role of the family?
The family plays the most important role, because they are the first line of action. If something happens, I want to believe that your child should run to mommy. I want to believe that your child would see you as a friend and would say, okay, mommy, this is what happened to me. I want to believe that your child will see you, daddy, as a friend and will say, you know, daddy, this is what happened to me. You know, so the family is the first line of action. So the family should be the one that say, okay, this is what we should do. This is how to, you know, address this particular issue. And then for families, don't just... Some people take drastic measures. Okay, you did this to my child. Carry cutlass. I want to cut off the head. I want to do drama. You don't need all of that. Okay, there are people that can counsel you on what to do and how to go about such cases. Okay, especially if you don't want the girl to be stigmatized. There are ways to go about it. I'm not saying you should keep quiet. No, this and this, you just keep quiet. No, but there are ways they can treat the case anonymously. You know, and then the case would find settlement, not settlement part, somebody paying you, you know, but then the child can go for therapy and the child can do well. You know, it's not just about that case, it's about after that case. You know, some children relive that event over and over again, and because of that, you know, at the end of the day, their confidence is shut down, depression, they can't move on with their life. That can also reduce the productivity of the nation at large. Okay, so the way the parents handle the case matters a lot.
That brings me to my next question. How can you handle a child's mental health? A child who has been through this, or a woman who has been through this? Because we find out that when they suffer sexual violence, they shut down, most of them, because of nightmares. They are not able to relate to people, and, you know, health-wise, they shut down. How can their mental health be helped? Okay,
so I would say that don't start taking so much pills, because a lot of them will go into drug abuse. So I would say don't use drugs, okay, so don't hide behind drugs to solve your issues, okay? You can go to the therapist, depending on the kind of issue that happened to you, because it comes differently. And I cannot just say, okay, this is what happened and this is how you should go about it. But depending on your issue, the therapist can help you, and the therapist will say, okay, this is what to do, this is how to go about it, and, you know, all of that, okay? So I would not tell you that this is, because I don't know how your case actually happened, but then don't hide behind drugs. Talk to someone. And if you're around, you know, people that those things have happened to, be a psychosocial support to those people. Your family, be a psychosocial. Don't say, where did you go? If you do not go there, this will not happen. Now you don't flog a horse when it's already on the ground, okay? So you find, you know, solutions. Help them to heal. Help them to heal, because you're the first line of action, and then you can take them to a therapist. In Nigeria, they say, you're going to the therapist, go to mommy church. No, there are a lot of things that mommy church don't know. When I say mommy church, I'm talking about the GO, mommy GO, and all of that. Go to a professional therapists that can teach you, that can help you, not teach you rather, that can help you through so that you can journey, your truth through with the person, and then you people can relate, and then you are, after some time, you notice that what you're done with that. So don't, a lot of people, go through drugs and then they end up in the rehabilitation home, and then there's a lot, and then you still come back to therapy. So I think the first thing to do is the family members give you psychosocial support, and then see the therapist, let them help you, okay? Don't put so much on the perpetrator, because everything has to do with you. The first thing to do is to find your happiness, okay? Definitely the perpetrator, they would find, you find a way to put them in their right places. The judiciaries would definitely make sure you report so that the judiciaries can, take action on that. But then the first thing to do for yourself, because it is important that you heal yourself. So find peace within yourself, and, it was just a circumstance that happened to you. You can live above it. You can do better. You can be better.
In the communities, have you ever been able to relate the character of someone with their mental health to what they've been through?
The character with their mental health?
Yes, like, coming up with, what they've been through.
Okay.
How it has been relatable to others.
Okay. And yes, it's actually relatable. Sometimes some things happen to some. That's the reason why I'm saying you should speak up. Some things happen to some people, and, some other people, it happens almost the same way to those other people. So you coming up to say, okay, this happened to me, can help another girl not to go through it, and it can help other girls to pick up the pieces together and move. Okay, so you coming up and say, okay, I've been through this, especially when, like I don't like to call them victims, I like to call them survivors. When you're a survivor and you have gone through these things before and you have lived above it, it's important that you still come up and say, okay, this happened to me. I was this happened to me. I was raped. I've gone through sexual and gender-based violence, but today I'm here. Today I'm maybe the minister of something. Maybe I'm this, I'm that. Maybe I have my business. I'm an entrepreneur and I'm doing well. Because it takes mental health. You being in the right mental health to do well. So you coming up to say that can help others to heal.
So what are your final words?
I would say that, it is important that as a girl, that you are perfect for your purpose. We have different types of female genital mutilation. We have clitoridectomy, that's the partial or total cut of the clitoris. We have excision, the total or partial cut of the clitoris and the labia minora. We have infibulation, where you have to sew down the vaginal orifice and all of that. And that is because a lot of people just want to put you in the right shape, and all of that. But you are perfect for your purpose. And as you're listening to me, I want you to say that. Either you're a man, you're a boy, you're a girl, you're a woman, I want you to say that I am perfect for my purpose. Nobody needs to talk down on me or make me feel like I'm not where I am, or whatever they've tried to say. You are perfect for your purpose. Thank you.
We sincerely appreciate you for coming on the show today. And, we always love having you here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and it's the 16 days of activism. Yay! So please, talk to someone. You don't need to have an NGO to speak to someone. So talk to someone about it. Let's come together. Let's unite. Love is important,
Very
I love
important.
Amanda so much, and I think that's why she keeps calling me.
Our guest has been Lois Tofunmi Aderomose, a gender-based violence advocate, an author and the founder, the Good News Philippian Mission. Finally, stopping this violence starts with believing survivors. Even as we look for ways to tackle the root causes, we need to transform harmful social norms and empower women and girls. With survivor-centered essential services across policy, health and social sectors, justice and financing for women agenda, we can end gender-based violence. Let us unite to end violence against women and girls. That's the much you can take on the program. Until next week, bye-bye.